What is up, everybody? Let's talk a little Michigan football here. Hey, if you are new to this channel, you see the Lions gear. That was our first channel, Sports Talk Detroit, but I needed to do a Michigan channel. We had been doing a couple NFL things. I love Michigan. You know, I often say, and I have this question for all of you. You're watching this Michigan channel, so I have a feeling the comments are going to be a little bit skewed, but I want to put this in the perspective of how my 7-year-old son asked me this question. He goes, "Dad, what do you like more?" And in his hands, he held mini football helmets for the Detroit Lions and the Michigan Wolverines. And you know what I said to him? I said, "Son, that's like asking me to choose who my favorite child is. I have 2 kids, 1 daughter, 1 son." And he's like, "Well, who is your favorite child?" And I'm like, "Stop it." Because I always tell my son, "Hey, you're my favorite son." And then I say, "I love you. You're my favorite son." I tell my daughter, "I love you. You know you're my favorite daughter, right?" And that's a good way to make your kids feel loved, by the way. But anyways, I can't choose. Who is it for you? Who do you love more, right? I'm not asking who you enjoy watching more. I'm not asking whose jerseys you like more, even though you can put it on there. But who do you like more? And I can't honestly answer that question of who I love more. I love both so much. My heart is big enough to love both teams. So anyways, speaking of somebody who liked us, it's kind of interesting. Matt Rhule, days after, it's kind of interesting. The last time we won at Nebraska, or we played Nebraska, Matt Rhule was all over the place about how good Michigan is. When Jim Harbaugh was thinking about leaving year after year, Matt Rhule was over here talking early on before the Nebraska stuff, saying, "I'm keeping my eye on Ann Arbor." Like, he's always had a thing where he's wanted to coach here. He really, really enjoys it here. And this is kind of interesting. So he was talking about his own team, where he was talking about how they threw for 300 yards. They held him to 100 yards, held us to 100 yards. And he says, "We've got to get better because you can't win in the Big Ten if you can't control the line of scrimmage. We have to improve that." All right. So this is on the Pat McAfee show. So here's what he said about Nebraska. This is so cool. Or about Michigan. This is so cool. He said, "I think 2 things stand out to me. Number 1, the week before they moved Jayshon Barham," Rhule said. "They moved him from middle linebacker. We played at Maryland. They moved him to the outside linebacker. I walked up to him after the game. I said, 'You are a top 10 pick.' That move disrupted everything. He didn't play that against Oklahoma. He played off the ball. And he's a great off-the-ball linebacker, but he's a difference maker coming off the edge." Now, I'm not going to spend all my time here because he had a second compliment, and I've already talked in a video about how Jayshon Barham is going to play himself into being a first-round draft pick. Well, Matt Rhule was a little more bold than me. Matt Rhule said not only is he going to be a first-round draft pick, he just said you're a top 10 pick. That is what Michigan has on the edge right now. That is what they have. Now, if you had told me that Derek Moore was going to play himself into a first-round draft pick at edge, I would believe you before the year started. I would have believed you. But if you told me we have another player on this team who will become a potential top 10 draft pick, I would have been like, who? It's not TJ Guy. Like, I never thought he was quick twitch enough. I think he's a good player. I think he's an NFL caliber player, just not a first round NFL player. He's more of a mid to late round player. But like, when we're sitting here looking at this, I'm telling you, like, he is fantastic. All right. But Matt Rhule went on and he kept talking about another one of our players. All right. And yeah, it's going to seem like a broken record because these players are playing so good. He goes, "And then Justice Haynes, the tailback from Alabama. We gave up 286 yards rushing. We gave up 3 carries for 168 yards. You give him a crack, and he is gone." He did go on to talk about us. We're going to talk about all of this. He said to win the Big Ten, they're going to have to throw the ball more. You can't throw the ball for 105 yards on screens. You're going to have to throw the ball down the field. But they've got 2 guys there that I thought were top 10 type players. They're going to be difference makers in the Big Ten. Okay, here's the deal. Here's what we need to understand. We have a top 10 player at the most important position on the defense. It's defensive end, right? As an edge. A guy who can just consistently get pressure. Then we have another guy who's a top 10 type player, all right? And I don't know if he means top 10 pick or if he means he's a top 10 running back. I don't know. He wasn't as specific when it was going with our running back, but if you have those two things, that can afford your freshman quarterback to learn to throw the ball down the field more. And by the way, he does throw the ball down the field. And I think Matt Rhule might have missed that. There was a down the field throw that was dropped for a touchdown in the first half. Like, we could have ran away with this game, and it's going to be so interesting to me to see how we kind of match up this how do I want to put it? This passing game with this smash mouth running game that we have, because oh my goodness, to be able to pop a couple big pass plays while pounding the rock and then being able to run out the clock and just run down our opponents as that goes, fantastic. It would be absolutely fantastic. All right, so this got me thinking about something, and I'll probably do a totally separate video on this, but I want to chat about this for a second, because Jayshon Barham is a top 10 player. Did we recruit him? Was he a Michigan recruit? No, he was not. Came from Maryland, right? This team is finding a different way to win, and they are sticking with the times. I think that is so important to note. Yes, we bring in, everybody knows about the freshman quarterback, 5-star, best recruit in the country. Yes, we bring him in, but it's more than that. It's Jayshon Barham a year ago, right? And then the other guy that he talked about in that, Justice Haynes. Is that a homegrown talent? Is that a guy who committed to Michigan out of high school? No. It's a guy who committed out of Alabama. And with both of these guys, they were good players at their previous schools. And that's totally different, because with one, you're just like, oh, he's coming from Maryland. How is he going to fit at Michigan? Like, Michigan's a better football program. Well, pretty darn well. And then with Justice Haynes, it's like, oh, well, he's coming from Alabama, which is a fantastic program, which we beat, by the way. But he didn't get continuous carries there. So what kind of a running back are we looking at? Like, to me, it just shows me that Alabama's stupid. Like, I know they have a lot of talent over there, but you're going to be hard-pressed to show me a running back who has more talent than Justice Haynes in the entire country. So Michigan is doing a good job of using the portal, not just to get starter-level talent, but star-level talent. Look, when I look at the portal, and again, I'm going to make another video about this, I look at it like NFL free agency. And people think that it's more guaranteed. Like, if a player's good in the NFL for one team, it'll be good for another. And it so often doesn't work. The portal's the same way. You need to be able, yes, you have better film to look at, right? And you get to see them against better competition, which you don't get to see in high school. But do they fit what you're looking to do? And are you willing to show and work to their strengths? So Michigan is doing that. Anyways, just thought I'd talk about it. Keep watching this. We got Michigan videos almost every stinking day, so make sure you're watching it. Family friendly as always. Hit that like button if you or subscribe button, I should say. Why not both? Leave a comment. We'll see you on the next one.